All right, gang. Good morning. And better yet, happy new year. Happy 2022 to everybody that's out there and joining me this morning. This is our first show of the new year. It's crazy to think that just 1 year ago, I started my journey here on YouTube back on January 1st of 2021. And here we come, full circle. 1 year later, over 3,400 subscribers, on our way to 3,500, by the way. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure that you go ahead, hit the subscribe button now, ring that bell, turn on notifications, so that way you do not miss any of my content. I typically go live Monday through Friday around 11 a.m. Eastern time, and we do NBA player prop research. Now, when the NBA is dead and gone and has gone into a hiatus, we'll probably switch sports. You know, I got to stay active here for you folks. We're going to be taking a look at the points, rebounds, three-point makes, assists, fantasy points over on PrizePicks today. If you don't play on PrizePicks yet, it's a great time to get signed up. Use promo code Curry, and you'll get a 100% instant deposit match on your first deposit, all the way up to $100. They're doubling your first deposit for free, making your first entry totally risk-free on PrizePicks. All right. So good morning to everybody who is joining me here for the 2022 season of me on YouTube. Let's just call it year 2, my sophomore season on YouTube. We'll think about it like that. Like how the NBA has different years or seasons for a player. Let's think about this as my sophomore year. My rookie year was a pretty damn good year. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. But we're looking to capitalize on my sophomore season here on YouTube. And I'm going to do it with you guys. We're going to do it together. It's going to be a great 2022. I'm putting the positive energy, the positive vibes out into the atmosphere. I'm going to help a lot of you folks out this year, starting with today, Money Making Monday. And we're going to keep riding this rocket ship all the way to the moon. How's that sound, folks? Looking at the comment section, got a lot of you in here already. Good to see some familiar faces. Chill Robot says, party people, it's 2022. You know what to do. Slam the like button for the Curry crew. My man's dropping bars up in here. Nice to see you, Chill Robots. E Wicker 864 says, great weekend for DFS. Now let's start the week off right. He's talking about what went down in the private channels of Discord. The private channels are available for Patreon members. Saturday and Sunday, if you paid attention to Discord, you probably had a profitable weekend. Starting things off with Saturday, we did some fantastic NBA research, ended up leading a lot of folks to a lot of money. And then Sunday, I did a little live show for some NFL research, had about 40-something people in there. And a lot of folks won on those NFL picks that were discussed, the NFL research that we did inside of Discord. Those aren't private channels, those are public channels. It was a public audio-only live event. And then Sunday, we capped it off with another great day of some NBA player props. Took the over on Wendell Carter Jr.'s rebounds, the under on Lauri Markkanen's points. Those were just a couple of the picks that were shared based on the research that I found. And yeah, we made a lot of folks a lot of money. So if you're in my Discord community, go over to the Winner's Circle channel. Matter of fact, why even do that? I'll just pull it up for you right now and show you what I'm talking about. Winner's Circle. All right. These are all winning entries. Take a look at this long list of winners. Okay. This is all in the Winner's Circle of my Discord. If you see anybody in red, like Mr. Greg here, he is a Patreon member. Okay, so Patreon members really benefited this past weekend from being active in Discord. The research that I did on Discord ended up leading a lot of people to a lot of picks. We're still on yesterday, folks. I could keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. These are all winning entries, winning lineups, stuff that we talked about inside Discord. Yes, I post stuff to Patreon too, but this is a community, so it's more about the community aspect. But you see all the winners, and we're not even all the way back. This is still from yesterday. Look, I'll just scroll up. There's winning lines, winning strategies being discussed every single day. You get my point. You got to be active in Discord. It's not just a Patreon thing. There's people out there that provide just picks where you could go and just be fed picks. Winning picks, losing picks, whatever. This is a community. What I'm trying to build is a community. Something different where we can come together, where we could talk, discuss our favorite picks and favorite plays daily. And listen. It's not always going to work out. I'm not saying I win every single day. I'm not going to come up here and sell you a lie. We lose too. It's part of the game, guys. I just want to say that we had a great weekend. All right. You get the point. So hopefully we could keep that positive momentum going. First 2 days have been profitable days in the month of January in the year 2022. We're going to keep that momentum going. Got a good feeling. Checking out what the other folks are saying up in here. Troy is saying Vegas has nightmares about CJ. Well, they might. Or maybe just prize picks. Mac B says, run those likes up. He makes a very, very good point. In order for us to keep growing, I need you to keep liking these live streams. So thank you, Mac, for the support. David mentions that PrizePicks is dragging their feet on loading the props. Yeah, as you can see here, folks, we've only got a handful of points props up on the PrizePicks board. So maybe if I buy us a little bit more time, we'll see some more props come up on the board. William says, first time catching the video live. Well, I'm glad to have you, William. Thanks for being here this morning. Anthony says, good morning, CJ. Great props this weekend. Absolutely. Ronald's Green, what's happening? Good to see you back again. Jay's back up in the building. Jay says he's back after the holidays, ready to make some money. Absolutely. I agree with you. Jeremy says, let's go. Money Making Mondays, Tony. You know what the deal is. Bridget, good morning to you. Thanks for joining Patreon, Bridget. By the way, great to have you in the community. Hopefully you cashed in on some picks yesterday. JY, let's get it today. Yes, sir. That Hunt Boy 92 says, CJ, what up, bro? Good morning. Good morning back to you. Leaving Pierre. Yo, let's get this money. Let's get it. Smooth Criminal Entertainment, leaving some fire emojis up in here. Joe Dino, good morning to you as well, my friend. I'm no GOAT. I'm just a normal dude who knows a little bit about basketball and tries to share it with everybody that I can. But good to see you. Nick, can you pause for 10 minutes? Gotta go load my laundry. Listen, Nick, you can always hit the rewind button, my friend. This thing is available for you to DVR, so to speak. So if you miss anything, always hit the rewind button. Head Goat, good morning to you. Happy, Merry New Year. Good to see you, my friend. Buzzing through some of these other comments here. Man, you guys are super active. Papiga. Kyrie screwed me in my KD and Harden props. Ouchie. Kevin, let's go. Made some money off the football live stream yesterday. Yeah, that's the Discord live stream that I was talking about. Free to everybody. G says, Jay Stino says, geez, a lot of high point totals today with blowout potential. Well, when there's blowout potential, we got to play those first half only entries. Kyle says, new year, same goal. Let's get some bread, boys. Michael, you've been missed on YouTube. Well, I miss you as well, Michael. We're back at it, though. Here we are. Michael, I don't know if you're in Discord or not, Michael, but you can always catch me in there. When I'm not on YouTube, you're going to find me in Discord. I'm super active in Discord. Elijah says, I'm back. Yes, I saw you rejoin Patreon. Good to have you back, Elijah. Juan says, hit that like button. Please hit that like button. You know what to do. Save your picks and plays toward the end of the stream, guys. I'll take all of those at the end. We'll do a little lightning round. We'll do the research for you. I just don't want to have to scroll through all the comments and find your picks. I want to make sure that I get to as many picks as possible. So hold off on those if you can. Matthew says, joined last night, have been doing well in PrizePicks, but looking to get a better way of doing things. Excited for 2022. Absolutely, Matthew. Thank you for joining, by the way. I appreciate your support. Anthony says, Curry going for a second rookie of the year like Ben Simmons. Ooh, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Jay Stino, yeah, loving Kuz rebounds again. Yeah, we'll talk about some plays in just a little bit. King Chris, one of the most active community members. Good to see you as well. Supporter on Patreon. Appreciate you, my friend. Good to see you as well, Cam. Good morning to JW. Dem dogs back up in here. King Lebois, 21. I don't know if I said that right. Discord gang won 2 5 picks this weekend and 3 picks. What's up to you, man? I'm glad you cashed in. How do I join the Discord? There's links down in the description of all my videos for everything. Discord, Patreon, props.cash, PrizePicks, everything that I'm into. It's all down in the description below. T-Rob says, what's up, man? First time here. Well, hopefully it's not your last. I think you'll be back. People seem to like this format. Big Verge, yo, what's good? He's locked in. Good to see you, Verge. Reddick says, salute, CJ. Let's get it. Just made over 700 this weekend. Fantastic weekend. My boy just got into PrizePicks, and I pointed him toward your YouTube and Discord. I think that's a good move, Peso. I like that. Luke, man, like the video, gang. Yayo checking in. What's up to you, Yayo? Jorge, good morning, New Year. Let's get the money. Yeah, absolutely. Let's get the money, folks. Shout out to everybody else that's in here. Yeah, Cam, link down in the description for everything that I got going on, man. Everything that I got going on is down in the description below. All right, appreciate everybody. Let's get down to business. I've done all the shout outs. Dwayne, what's up? Captain Shango, what's up? All right, we got the energy in here. It's Money Making Monday, right? So let's get down to business here, folks. We got 10 games, 10 NBA games to talk about. We're going to do it right now. Starting things off, the Charlotte Hornets at the Washington Wizards. Look at the total on this game, guys. 231.5 implied points with a 1.5 point spread. Listen, this is an overtaker's dream game right here. Super sky high totals, 230 plus points plus a spread with less than 2 points difference between the outcomes. So loving this game here. If you're wanting to target some overs, this might be the one to do so. For the Charlotte Hornets, we got Washington, who is a game time decision. Lewis and Carey Jr. are both ruled out. Over on the Washington Wizards side, I might have said Washington before. I meant Charlotte. Charlotte has PJ Washington as a game time decision. Lewis and Carey Jr. are both out. For the Washington Wizards, Hachimura, Bryant, Winston, Harrell, Holiday, Gill, Wanamaker, Dinwiddie, and Neto are all out. So the biggest ones here, obviously, are going to be Rui Hachimura, Montrezl Harrell, and probably Spencer Dinwiddie are going to be your top 3 most impactful injuries in that one. But love the total on that game. Love the spread as well. 7 p.m. also brings us the Houston Rockets at the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, this one has a decent total at 219 points, but it's a 13-point spread. Now, 13-point spread indicates high risk for a blowout. There's a good chance that this game blows out. So in the event that it does, I would recommend that you take first half only picks from this game. Looking at the injury news, we got a game time decision on Eric Gordon for the Houston Rockets. We got Jarreau, Sengun, and Brooks all ruled out for Houston. If we look at the Philadelphia side, Matthias Thybulle is a game time decision. Obviously, Ben Simmons is out. Powell and Springer also out for the Philadelphia 76ers. Looking at the 7:30 p.m. matchup here, Memphis Grizzlies at the Brooklyn Nets. In case you haven't heard, Kyrie Irving is supposed to be making his Brooklyn Nets season debut on Wednesday. It'll be good to get Kyrie Irving back out on the court along with James Harden and Kevin Durant. The big three finally put back together. So this game here, 227.5 points, a pretty high total with a 6-point spread in favor of the Brooklyn Nets. So not too worried about the blowout in this one. I think full game plays are definitely on the table here. You don't have to go first half only, but you always could if you think that for some reason this game gets out of hand and potentially blows out. Looking at the injury news, there's a ton of it for the Grizzlies side of things. We got Zaire Williams as a game time decision. Melton, Culver, Concar, Brooks, Buchanan, Anderson, Tillman, and Merrill are all out for the Memphis Grizzlies. Looking at the Nets side, LaMarcus Aldridge, game time decision. We got Joe Harris, Kyrie Irving, and Edwards already ruled out. 8 p.m. game, Utah Jazz at New Orleans Pelicans, 228-point total. Really high total, but the spread is a little bit concerning. Utah, 9.5-point favorites on the road against New Orleans in this game. We've got Hassan Whiteside and Eric Pascal as both game time decisions. Azubuike is already ruled out for the Utah Jazz. Looking at the New Orleans Pelicans side of things, Valanciunas and Ingram, both game time decisions. You're going to want to make sure you keep an eye on this injury news for the New Orleans Pelicans. Their top two best players, Joe Val and B.I., both game time decisions. Williamson, Lewis, NAW, Alexander Walker, Satoransky are already ruled out for the New Orleans Pelicans. So I like the total from this game. Just a little concerned that it blows out. So that's another one that goes into the first half only category for me. Speaking of first half only, this game here also qualifies because despite the nice total of 226 points, it's a 16-point spread, guys. High probability of this game getting carried away and blowing out. So make sure if you're playing any overs from this game, you probably want to take them in a first half only format. Detroit is missing a lot of key names here. Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart is ruled out. Jeremy Grant, Kelly Olynyk, Corey Joseph, Frank Jackson, Palmer, Livers, however you say it, Walton Jr. are all out for Detroit. Over on the Milwaukee side, we got to keep an eye on Chris Middleton. He is a game time decision at the moment. Brook Lopez, Dante DiVincenzo, Ojale, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think that's how you say his first name. The brother of Giannis Antetokounmpo is out, okay? That's who we're talking about. But anyway, blowout potential in this game, so be very careful. 8 p.m. brings us my Orlando Magic at the Chicago Bulls. We got a 13.5-point spread on this game as well. So high total, but also a high risk of a blowout. So be careful playing full game overs from this one as well. Etuan Moore, Jonathan Isaac, Michael Carter-Williams, Fultz, Suggs, Lopez, Okeke, and Anthony already ruled out for Orlando. They've got a ton of issues going on there. As a Magic fan, it's been one of them seasons, y'all. It's been one of them seasons. The Chicago Bulls are missing Alex Caruso, and that's it, really. I mean, that's the most impactful one. They got Williams, Bradley, Simonovic, Green, and Cook already ruled out for Chicago. 8:30 p.m. brings us the Denver Nuggets at the Dallas Mavericks, 214 points. Hey, there's some more props on the PrizePicks board as we speak. Maybe they're on a little bit of a holiday hangover, but it looks like they just uploaded some more points props for us to take a look at. So we'll have plenty to dig into, hopefully. 8:30 though, Denver at Dallas, 214-point total, 3-point spread in this one. Good news for the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic is now back. I believe Tim Hardaway Jr. is also now back for Dallas, so they're starting to get some of their players back. And you're going to kind of see this across the league. You're going to see these injury reports hopefully shrink down. You're going to see some of these role players that have been thrusted into these larger roles kind of take a step back and revert back to where they were before all this COVID stuff happened. And hopefully you're going to get back to more normal rotations, a little bit more predictable brand of basketball. So hopefully we see that going forward. But Denver's still dealing with a lot of different names being out. Obviously, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, the two big ones here. But we've got Dozier, Howard, Nanji, Morris, Green, and Highland already ruled out here for the Nuggets. Over on the Dallas side, keep an eye on Burke, McLaughlin, Willie Cauley-Stein. None of them are really impactful, but they're all game-time decisions. Omer Rui, Boban Marjanovic, and Thomas are already ruled out for Dallas as well. 10 p.m. Atlanta at Portland, 225.5 point total. Love the total on this game, very high. Could be a good one to take some overs on. 6.5 point spread, so it doesn't look like it's going to blow out. Looks like it's going to stay close. Looks like it's going to stay competitive. We got a long laundry list of names here for the Atlanta Hawks. Johnson, Hill, Hunter, John Collins is the biggest one here. Wright, Hill, Jang, Bogdanovich, and Ellison already ruled out for Atlanta. Looking at the Portland side of things, we got Zeller and Nurkic. I believe Nurkic is ruled as doubtful. I don't think he ends up playing tonight. McCollum still out. Damian Lillard is also out for Portland. McGriff and Williams also out for Portland as well. 10 p.m. Miami Heat at Golden State Warriors, 216.5 point total, 10 point spread. Another one that's going to go into the blowout basket for me. We got PJ Tucker and Akpala as both game time decisions for Miami. No Bam Adebayo, Oladipo, Dedmon, Morris, Strus, Vincent, Robinson, Garrett, and Haslam. They got a long list of names waiting to get back into the mix. I believe most of those guys are in COVID protocols. Golden State, Klay Thompson, James Wiseman, both out. Draymond Green back in the lineup. Jordan Poole back in the lineup for Golden State. Finally, 10:30 p.m. Yes, this is the last game. Minnesota T-Wolves at the LA Clippers. We got 216.5 points on the board here. 4-point spread. So it looks like, according to Vegas Lines Makers, this game should stay close and competitive. But we got to keep an eye on the Minnesota news because we've got Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell both as game time decisions, joining their teammate Wright on that list. For the Clippers, Nick Batum is a game time decision. Clippers are dealing with a lot of guys being out right now. Obviously, the big ones, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard are both out. No Zubac, no Kennard, no Boston Jr., no Hartenstein, no Preston. So the Clippers dealing with a bunch of injuries. It'll be the Reggie Jackson, Eric Bledsoe, Terrence Mann, Marcus Morris, and Serge Ibaka show. They're trying to make it work, guys. So there you go. A whole bunch of names, a whole lot of people that are out. We got to stay on top of the injury news. Good to see G-Lo back up in here. Captain Shango says, run them likes up. I agree with that, man. Love that. Love the like run up. You guys keep reminding folks, run them likes up. Is it Morant Money Making Monday? It could be. We're going to take a look at it. Maybe he'll pop up in our research together. What's up, T. McGrew? T. McGrew, I got that right? What's up to you? Yeah, maybe PrizePicks is still dealing with the holiday hangover, folks. We got to get them on the ball here and get some more props up on the board. Good to see how everybody is doing. Thanasis. I got it, Nick. Appreciate that. Thanks for the assist. They took Brooklyn off. Sheesh. Isaac, what's up? Happy Monday. Hope you had a good long weekend. I did, my friend. And now it's time to get down to business. We're going to deal with what we got. You know, we don't have a whole lot of props to talk about right now. But we're going to make do with what we have. And we'll talk about some of the names that aren't on the PrizePicks board now that will probably get added in the near future. You know, for whatever reason, PrizePicks is behind today. We'll give them a break, though. All right, so let's start things off looking at some point props, guys. One guy that's standing out here. Last 10 games. Utah Jazz swingman Bojan Bogdanovich at 17.5 points has covered this prop in 80% of his last 10 games. So if you look at the last 5 games, he's also rocking an 80% cover rate. So things are looking pretty good here for Bojan Bogdanovich. He's going up against the New Orleans Pelicans today, averaging over 20.5 points per game in that 5-game span. So what we're going to do is use Fantasy Pros here. Let's refresh, make sure we have all the latest data pulled in. We're going to look at the last 7 games. This tool, by the way, totally free for you to check out. It is very, very helpful. I use it daily to help me make my winning picks. I used it all weekend long, along with StatMuse, another great site, totally free for you to use as well. So I highly recommend this. Anyway, Bogdanovich kind of plays that small forward role. So we're going to take a look at the points column here, and then we're going to go find his opponent tonight, which is the New Orleans Pelicans. We're not sure if Brandon Ingram's going to play. We're not going to speculate. We're going to wait for the news, but the Pelicans are giving up about 17.5 points per game to opposing small forwards. So that's actually the 5th fewest. So this does look like a difficult matchup. even though this guy's covering this points prop in 80% of the last 10 games and 80% of his last 5 games. So high hit rate, difficult matchup. Okay, let's move on. We're going to pull up a points projection for Bogdanovic, and we're also going to take a look at how the public is approaching this prop. Are they betting the over? Are they betting the under? We'll use that as a way to kind of compare or give us an idea of what we should be doing here on PrizePicks. So according to the Action Labs projections, which is a part of the Fantasy Labs package, by the way, if you're interested in Fantasy Labs, I'll have a promo link, a promo code coming soon. Hold off if you're interested in joining Fantasy Labs. I might be able to save you a little bit of money, and you might be able to help me out in return by using my promo code, promo link. But anyway, we got Bojan Bogdanovic projected for 18.8 points according to the Action Labs projection tool, which puts him over 17.5. Now, 3 different books, 3 of the same results, meaning we're not seeing any action going over or under right now. Nobody's putting their money down one way or the other. So we have to wait and see how kind of maybe those lines develop throughout the night. But nonetheless, super high hit rates for Bojan Bogdanovic at 17.5 points, but the matchup's a little bit concerning. Now, I would expect the matchup to get a bit easier, being if Brandon Ingram's ruled out, if Jonas Valanciunas is ruled out. I think things get easier across the board for all of the Utah Jazz players, but this game does have a high blowout risk. So if you're going to take Bogdanovic over points, I would say probably want to do that in a first half only format. But the guy's been on fire lately, so he makes for a decent play. Another guy that we're going to look at is Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane at 19.5 points, I think, on most sports books, but he's at 20.5 tonight going up against the Brooklyn Nets. So at 20.5 points, we're seeing him cover this in just 40% of the last 5 games. That's a 2 out of 4 or 2 out of 5 hit rate. He's averaging 21.8 points per game. Had a couple of really good games here. Sacramento, 28 points, 32 against Phoenix. So some of these averages are being bolstered or boosted up by these big scoring outputs against Sacramento and Phoenix, respectively. 20.5 is definitely a bit higher. I liked him better when he was down around 18.5 or 19.5. I'm seeing him at 19.5 on most books. Now at 19.5, he's covered this prop in about 60% of the last 10 games. So let's go take a look at the matchup. Bane, obviously, he slots in alongside Ja Morant at the shooting guard position. We're going to go look and see how many points per game Brooklyn's giving up in the last 7 games to shooting guards. We do have to scroll down a ways because Brooklyn, kind of a tough defense. They're giving up the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th fewest points per game to opposing shooting guards. So this could be a difficult number for Desmond Bane to hit the over on. Let's go pull up a projection for you using Action Labs. I got Bane projected for 17.2. 17.2. Now, I got him on 2 different books at 2 different numbers. I got him at 20.5 on one book, 19.5 on another book. At 19.5, people are betting the over. I wish we could get him at 19.5 because I like betting overs. But at 20.5, we're seeing the under being the way that people are putting their money down. So what do you guys think? Kind of a tricky prop here. PrizePicks obviously taking the higher number at 20.5 points on Desmond Bane today, in what looks to be kind of a difficult matchup. And the projections agree. They got him going for 17.2. They think he's going to go under by about 3 points at 20.5. Might want to take the under on Desmond Bane if you think that this game is going to be a tough one for him. Other guys that may or may not be in play here, Patty Mills at 14.5 points. If we see him up on the PrizePicks board, he's not up right now. 14.5 though, 60% hit rate in his last 10 games. He could be a decent look. Aaron Gordon of the Denver Nuggets, if he plays tonight, 15.5 points, 60% hit rate in his last 5 games. But again, not seeing any of these guys up on the PrizePicks board, unfortunately. One guy that I do want to talk about, he's not probably going to be a full game play for me, is Joel Embiid versus the Houston Rockets. If I play Embiid, I think I want to play him in a first half only format. Obviously, we know the Houston Rockets, not a very tough team. They're one of the worst teams, in fact, in the NBA, and they're going up against one of the best, if not the best center in all the NBA. He's at 26.5 points today, folks. And you can see what he's been up to in his last 5 games, averaging 34 points per game, has covered this number of 26.5 in 4 out of 5 meetings. That is an 80% hit rate. Love what I'm seeing from Embiid here. 34 or more points in 4 out of his last 5 games. He struggled a little bit against Atlanta on December 23rd, but I don't see anybody on the Houston Rockets roster standing in this guy's way. Who are they going to do? They going to put Christian Wood on him? Are we worried about the undersized Christian Wood against this monster of a man in Joel Embiid? Yeah, not really worried about that. So let's go look at the center position. You can see the Houston Rockets, folks, giving up the first most points per game in the last 7 games to opposing centers. So again, I don't have to tell you much more than that. This is a home run type of play, but I wouldn't touch it in a full game format. Now, could Embiid get there? Absolutely. He could get there at just 26.5 points in a full game format. But I think for me, I might want to look at this as a first half only because this game is going to blow out. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So if we go and take a look at Joel Embiid's points for the first half, 13.5 points. Seems very doable. He needs just 14 points in the first half against the team giving up the most points to the center position in the last 7 games. I think it is absolutely, totally doable. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. It's not really a secret, but one thing that you can do on StatMuse is you could say Joel Embiid first half points game logs. That should work. And then it pulls up these little graphs here. It also pulls up a record of all his game logs. And you can see at 13.5 points how many times he's covered this prop this season. So just kind of going through real quick, anything 14 or more is a hit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 times. 10 times. Not terrible. I don't know how many games this is, but yeah. He could definitely get it done in the first half. I think that would be the safer way to play Joel Embiid and this prop. But he's in a great position tonight, guys. That is what I wanted to highlight here. Joel Embiid versus the Houston Rockets should be a good way to go. Still not seeing any additional props yet for points. So let's go ahead and move from points to the next category on PrizePicks, which is going to be rebounds. We're going to take a look at the high hit rate rebounders and take a look at some of the guys who are not hitting at a very high rate. So the great thing about the Action Labs tools is it supports a variety of different player props. So we're going to take a look at those rebounds right now. Starting things off here with the guys that have been getting it done at a high hit rate. We got Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks at 3.5 boards. If we see him up on the PrizePicks board, 70% hit rate on him. One guy that I wish we had, who is a member of the Utah Jazz, but is not up on the board right now, is Michael Conley Jr. He's another point guard who's rebounding really well at 3.5 boards, 70% hit rate for him as well. A guy that I played over the weekend was Nikola Vucevic at 11.5 boards. He ended up hitting his prop. I think I got him at 10.5 the other day. But Vooch at 11.5, if we see him up on the board, 70% hit rate. He's going up against his former team in the Orlando Magic, who historically, at least from this season, have given up a pretty high number of rebounds, we'll say, to the center position. So I think he's in play. James Harden, another guy who's been getting on the boards at 8.5 boards. If we see him up on the PrizePicks board later, 60% hit rate there. The one guy that we can talk about because he's up on the board is Rudy Gobert at 14.5. Now yesterday, 2 days ago, I should say, 2 days ago against Golden State, I think Hassan Whiteside missed that game. And Rudy Gobert was at 15.5 rebounds, which seems like an astronomical number. I mean, that is a high number, right? 15.5 rebounds. That's a ton of boards for any big man to pull down in a single game. But I say all that to say he did get it done against Golden State, pulling in 19 rebounds. This guy's got 20 rebound upside on any given night. One of the best rebounders in the NBA. So at 14.5, he's covered in 2 of his last 2 games, but overall in his last 5 games, just a 40% hit rate. So what's going to happen tonight against the New Orleans Pelicans? we'll have to wait and see. We're waiting to get that Joe Val news. Is Jonas Valanciunas in or out for New Orleans? Obviously, that would impact my decision making here when it comes to Rudy Gobert and this rebound prop. But let's go ahead and talk about him, because at 14.5 rebounds in his last 10 games, a 60% hit rate isn't the worst thing in the world. Let's go to the center position. We'll head over to the rebound category. We'll kind of hit the sort button here and look at the most rebounds allowed and then the fewest rebounds allowed. So we'll scroll down, find the New Orleans Pelicans, and they're kind of down here toward the bottom, folks. Giving up about 13.5 rebounds per game in the last 7 games to centers. That's the 7th fewest. So again, this is really going to be a play that hinges on, is Joe Val in or Joe Val out? If Joe Val is in, and especially if Brandon Ingram's in, because Ingram gets on the boards too, I would be a little bit more reluctant to take the over on Rudy Gobert, especially knowing that this game has some blowout potential in it. All right. So let's switch it on over here. We're going to take a look at Gobert's projected rebounds. We've got him at 15.3 projected boards. 15.3. At 14.5 on a couple different books, we're seeing betting odds of minus 130 over 14.5. So that's real people with real money in their pockets going out to these books, going out to these sites, and they're slapping their money down on the over on Rudy Gobert at 14.5 boards. But I'm going to take the wait and see approach. I got to see if BI and Joe Val are in or not before I touch any props from either side of this game. So there you go. Some other rebounds that you might want to consider. We've got Giannis Antetokounmpo. We've got Bobby Portis going up against Detroit tonight. Detroit obviously going to be playing with a skeleton crew of players. They're not going to have their full complement of players. This game is going to blow out. I'm a little bit skeptical that either of these guys are going to get enough run to cover their rebound prop. I think for me, Giannis might be a candidate for an underplay. I know he had 16 against New Orleans. But if you look at the other 4 games here, 12 or less rebounds in 4 out of 5 games. And we know that these games here against Orlando were both blowouts. So maybe if we use those to kind of compare to what might happen against Detroit tonight, a blowout, we can feel a little more comfortable about taking the under on Giannis Antetokounmpo here. But this game should absolutely be a blowout fest. So maybe you go under on Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let's go take a look at the matchup here. He's more of a power forward, obviously, for the Milwaukee Bucks. We're going to see how many rebounds are allowed by this Detroit Pistons team in the last 7 games. And we got to scroll down a ways here because they're kind of like right in the middle of the pack, giving up about 10 rebounds per game. So I wouldn't say that this is like some excellent matchup, some huge plus matchup here for Giannis. In this case, I would say it's kind of just a middle of the road average matchup in terms of rebounds. So I would feel comfortable probably taking the under on Giannis, knowing that this game is going to blow out. It's going to blow out, folks. So let's go get a projection on Antetokounmpo. No projection yet. Let's refresh. Maybe the Action Lab tool has updated. They're always adding new player props here. There we go. Got him at 11.9. 11.9 rebounds puts him just shy of 12. But if we were to round up and call it 12, maybe he ends up in a tie or push situation. Now, he is at 11.5 rebounds on your favorite sports book. Betting favorite at minus 140 to cover 11.5, which is why PrizePicks has went ahead and ballooned or rounded this number up from 11.5 to 12. But I don't know that I'm buying it. I think for me, he's more of an underplay today in a very high likelihood of a blowout. So, that's about the best we can do with the rebound props that are up on the board at the moment. Let's switch things up. We'll take a look at some of the assist props and see how those are looking. I really wish we had a little bit more to talk about. Really wish we did. Kind of throwing a cramp in my style here, PrizePicks. But it's all good. I'm sure we'll get tons of props on a 10-game NBA slate. Appreciate everybody who's joining into the chat. What's up to my man, Anthony Taylor? What's happening? Leaving the rocket ships. Yes, to the moon we go. To the moon we go. What happened with Brooklyn? Who's out? Yeah, I don't know. What's happening? Not quite sure. Yeah, Rajon Rondo to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Can you put up a link to your Discord when you can? Sparkly Trees. There is a link down in the description of this video. Thank you, Brandon. You already said that. I didn't even see you say that, but you said that. Appreciate that. K Remedy says, let's get more likes in here. Happy New Year, everyone. Yes, if you haven't liked yet, doesn't cost you anything to leave a like. You can just click that little thumbs up button. Appreciate that. David's saying Gobert is an under first half points if Joval plays. Yeah, Gobert, not a very good first half scorer. I agree with you on that. I've noticed that too. Typically, if he scores well, it's going to be because he's playing like 4 quarters of basketball or second half. Donovan Mitchell, on the other hand, is a first half scoring beast. T-Rob says Seth Curry assist over looks like a great pick. Remind me, T-Rob, to take a look at that pick later on. If you want to repost that later on toward the end of the show, we could take a look at that. GMBTY wants to know, do I do NFL picks? I actually went live yesterday inside of Discord, which is free and open to everyone to join. I was on there for like an hour or more talking all sorts of NFL props. I had people winning 5 picks, so that's a 10x payout on PrizePicks. I even had somebody say they won a 15x payout. And the reason they were able to do that is because I put them on going over Matt Stafford's passing yards and under on Tyler Huntley's passing yards. That Los Angeles Rams, Baltimore Ravens game. So that kind of unlocked the potential for the 15x. They put 3 other picks alongside those 2 quarterbacks, and they ended up hitting a 15x payout. So to answer your question, yes. But on this channel right now, it's all about the NBA. Wes, what's happening, boss man? A little late, but you're here. That's all right. You can hit that replay button. And what's up to you as well, JW? Hitting you with the wave. Tony says, Joval is going to play. I think it just changed to healthy. All right, that'll be cool. I'm down for some Joval versus Gobert. A big battle of the big men. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these assist props. We don't have a lot of high hit rate assisters up on the board just yet. They're playing keep away, folks. Trae Young at 9.5 assists. If we see him up on the board, 70% hit rate in his last 10 games. 70% hit rate in his last 10 games. So if you could get ice Trae Young at 9.5 assists somewhere, I strongly suggest you look into that as an option for an overplay. Royce O'Neal of the Utah Jazz also been crushing his assist prop at just 2.5, 70% hit rate. We're not getting him up on the PrizePicks board. Folks, they know what they're doing, all right? They're not going to give us anything that looks like a free square or a layup here. So we're going to have to work hard and find the value. One guy that we can maybe take a look at is Ja Morant. I know his last 5 games not looking sexy. His last 10 games also not the sexiest. 50% hit rate on his assist prop. He's been in his bag, though, when it comes to scoring the basketball. But let's look at Ja, because I know he's going to be a popular play. Going up against the Brooklyn Nets tonight. At 6.5 assists, he's averaging just 5.8 in the last 5 games, which isn't enough to put him over 6.5. So what do you think happens tonight? Do you think he is back in his scoring bag? Or do you think he returns to this like 8 or 9 assist number like he had against San Antonio and Sacramento, respectively? We'll dig in a little bit deeper here and see how many assists per game are given up by the Brooklyn Nets to the point guard position. So we just hit point guard. We'll hit a little sort action here on the assist column. And then we'll go down. We'll find the Brooklyn Nets. They're giving up about 7.2 dimes, which means at that average of 7.2, Ja Morant's going to have to get darn near every single assist that the Brooklyn Nets allow on average to the point guard position in the last 7 games, which is asking a lot. I don't know that Ja's going to get every single assist. So this could be a tough matchup, a matchup where you go under on Ja Morant. Let's go ahead and pull up a projection on Ja. Assists right now, not seeing any that stand out to me as good, solid plays, but he is projected for 7.3 dimes against the Brooklyn Nets. And he's a minus 120 betting favorite to go over 6.5. But it's a tough one. I don't think it's my favorite play. I don't think it's my favorite prop, his assist prop. Now, is this crazy or what? Bradley Beal at 8.5 assists? What the heck's going on here? I get it. He had 10 against Cleveland and 17 against Chicago. This dude was at 5.5 at one point this season. Now he's at 8.5. I'm looking at this sideways because I'm like, okay, he's had 2 good games, but do we really think he warrants going all the way up to 8.5? I think he was just at 6.5 like a game or two ago. Let's go to the shooting guard position. Let's see how many assists per game Charlotte, which is tonight's opponent, are giving up to the opposing 2 guards. Now, he's kind of taking on more of a point guard role. Obviously, no Spencer Dinwiddie in the lineup for Washington, who is typically the point guard there, but 8.5 seems like a lot for Bradley Beal. Yes, he could get it done, but geez, he's going to have another like high upside game. And maybe he does. I mean, this game does have a super sky high total, a really competitive spread, but Charlotte's given up 5.4 assists per game to the shooting guard position. And I know that number doesn't seem like a lot. But if we look at the ranking here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that is the 7th most to opposing shooting guards in the last 7 games. Let's just go look at the point guard position. See how many dimes are given up by Charlotte. They're 8.8 to opposing point guards. So if Beal is kind of acting as more of a point guard role, I mean, he's in a decent spot against Charlotte in a high scoring game that's going to stay close. That number just kind of took me back, let's just say. I got him projected for 5.8 assists. 5.8 assists according to the Action Labs projection tool. I would strongly recommend you cross-reference this prop. Go find some projections on some of the other sites that offer free player prop projections, just to kind of see how they compare to Action Labs. But even if we rounded this sucker up to 6 and say, we're going to give him 6 projected assists, that's still quite a bit lower than 8.5. I don't know. At 9.5 assists, he is a minus 150 to go under 9.5. So PrizePicks went ahead, bumped him down to 8.5. That just seems like a high number to me. I could be wrong. I mean, dude's had 10 and 16 assists or 17 assists in 2 straight games. Maybe he's like, the next John Stockton all of a sudden. But yeah, Dinwiddie's out. Yeah, you guys are echoing the same kind of points and sentiments that I'm talking about here. It just seems like a high number. That's all. I'm not saying it's a lock for and under. I'm just saying 8.5. I felt like he was like just 5.5 a couple days ago. But yeah, you guys do some extra research, extra homework on this Bradley Beal assist prop. Affordable Luxury Records wants to know, how do we join the group with exclusive picks? Well, listen, I'm doing research. I'm posting stuff on Patreon Monday through Friday, typically a handful of picks every night that look good to me based on my research and findings. I'm posting stuff on the weekends when I get a free minute, an hour or something to just sit down and dig into some stuff. You can get access to all that down in the link of the description of this video. There's a link for Discord. There's a link for Patreon. I don't promise we win every day. I'm just saying the last 2 days have been very, very good. They've been very, very good. All right. So if you want to check it out, that's where you go. Down in the link in the description of this video. What else are you folks talking about? Dave Jones says, good morning, CJ. I won 4 of 5 of your picks yesterday in NFL props. Well, that sounds like a double up to me. And anytime we're making money, it's a good day, right? It's Money Making Monday here today. So hopefully we do a little bit more of that. Taylor says, thanks for putting us on the Wendell Carter 10.5 rebounds and Lauri Markkanen under 14.5 points. He had a big night. Love it, love it, love it. It pays to pay attention and be active in Discord. I'm just going to say that. The more you're engaged, the more you're active, the better it is for you. Alex says, same here, Dave. He got a 5 out of 5 from those NFL picks in yesterday morning's Discord chat. When I went live, basically what I do is it's almost like a podcast in Discord. I'll send a notification to everybody who's in Discord. I'll say, hey, I'm going to go live talking some NFL player props at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Join me. Bring something to write with. You might want to take notes on some of these player props. And it's just an audio only experience, kind of like what we do here every morning with NBA props. But this was just NFL only on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. I don't do it every day or every morning for every NFL game. I don't do that. I'm not going to say I'm going to do that, but it is free. It is open to everybody. If you like what I do on YouTube, join me for an audio only experience that I do over in Discord. Sounds like I made some folks a lot of money. So, yeah, love to hear it. All right, let's keep it moving here. We've talked about some points, rebounds, and assists so far. It looks like they've thrown a couple more props our way. We'll get into those if they come up in questions. But let's look at the 3-point makes. We've only got 4 options. 4 options right now. So this will be short and sweet. Let's go ahead and talk about 3-point makes. We're going to look at the last 10 games, see if any of these jokers stand out to me. And right now, it doesn't look like it. We got Desmond Bane, Drew Holiday, Bobby Portis, and Steph Curry. Maybe we talk about Desmond Bane. He's at 3.5 on most of your books tonight, but he's at just 3 on PrizePicks. And in the last 5 games, he's gone for 3 or more in 80% of his games. Yes, 2 of those games were ties or pushes, but that's better than losing a bet sometimes. And you know how it goes for me. I like going back to a prop after a flop. Bars. Now that we got that out of the way, San Antonio, he only had 1 3-point make. 1 3-point make. So that to me is a flop because in the last 5 games, this young man is averaging 3.4 3-point makes. So I expect him to return to glory here. He's got a few days of rest too. So yeah, I think he could get it done. Looking at the shooting guard position, we'll go over to the 3-point make category and go find the Brooklyn Nets. We do have to scroll down a ways. They're giving up just 2.9 3-point makes per game to opposing shooting guards in that span, which puts them right around the top 10, top 12 fewest 3-pointers allowed to the shooting guard position. So not looking like a great matchup, not a huge plus matchup, but also not one that I'm like, oh, we got to fade it. So typing in Desmond Bane's name here, we got him projected for 2.9 3-point makes, which is a lot closer to 3 than it is 2, right? So there's a chance that maybe he knocks down 3 and ends up in a tie or push situation. At 3.5 3-point makes, we're seeing him as minus 130 betting favorite to go under, which is why PrizePicks has put him up at a softer number at 3 3-point makes. Not really interested in any of these other guys. I mean, he is the 3-point king, the 3-point god. Steph Curry at 5 3-point makes in his last 5 games has hit 5 or more in 4 out of 5, an 80% hit rate. 2 of those games he tied or pushed against Phoenix and Denver, respectively. Now he's going up against Miami tonight. Let's look at this matchup here. The Miami Heat kind of beat up, pretty depleted across the board. Let's go to the point guard position. Look at the 3-point makes that Miami's given up in the last 7 games. They're giving up about 2.8. Now that's just an average. We know Steph Curry is no average 3-point shooting point guard. He is very much an above average 3-point shooter. So let's pull up a projection on Steph just for fun since we don't have a whole lot to talk about. We got him at 6.1 projected 3-point makes, which does put him over 5. And if you look at the numbers on 2 different books, minus 135 betting favorite to go under 5.5, which is why PrizePicks has, again, shaved off the hook, that 0.5 after the prop, the 5.5, that 0.5 is the hook. They've taken that off. They've rounded it down to 5. So maybe he ends up in a tie or push situation against the Miami Heat tonight. But there you go. I think that's going to do it for my portion of what we talk about here. So if you have questions, start leaving them in the chat now while I get a little drink of water. If you guys want to talk about some fantasy points, we could absolutely do that. We haven't discussed any fantasy points yet. Looks like PrizePicks is continuing to load the board up finally. A little slow today on PrizePicks, but that's all right. That's all right. We'll cut them a little slack because they're typically on their A game. Whoa, Osmosis Jones, where you been, brother? He says he survived a car crash a week ago. Took my luck to the casino and won my first fantasy point 4 pick yesterday. Holy smokes, man. I hope you're okay, OJ, Osmosis Jones. Jeff B says he's looking at some Grayson Allen under on points since Chris Middleton is back. Is Chris Middleton officially in tonight? That is my question, because at the top of the show here, he was a game time decision. Do you know for sure that Chris Middleton's going to play? If Middleton's out, one play that worked for me over the weekend was Grayson Allen over 4.5 first half points. Is he up on the board again today? He is, but he's at 5.5. They've learned from their mistakes, as PrizePicks typically does. They're not giving them to us at 4.5 points anymore. But maybe he gets it done at 5.5. That's like 2 3-point makes for this kid. And he's a 3-point shooter, so you could maybe look his way in a first half only type of play, because we know that Milwaukee-Detroit's going to blow out. But that's only if Chris Middleton is out. Now, Middleton is not up on the PrizePicks board at the moment, so I think we're still waiting on news. Still waiting on news for him. But you're liking Grayson Allen under on points. So we'll just speak about this as of right now. Okay, this is as of right now, pending Chris Middleton news. You're liking Grayson Allen under points. If Middleton's back, I kind of agree with you. We can go under on Grayson Allen's points. But if Chris Middleton is out, well, he was out in the last game against New Orleans, and Grayson Allen dropped 16 points on the Pelicans. So I'm going to just pull up a projection as of right now. Right now being noon Eastern time. I got him projected for 10.8. But on 2 different books, he is a betting favorite to go under at minus 120 and minus 122 odds. So I'm going to take the wait and see approach, just like I am for the New Orleans Pelicans. What's going to happen with some of these guys who are on the fence? Are they going to play, or are they not going to play? We're going to wait and see. Leaving Pierre. Kuzma under and 3.5 assists. He's screaming it from the mountaintops, folks. Levan Pierre. He's really liking Kyle Kuzma. Under 3.5 assists. Going up against Charlotte. We know this game's going to be a high-scoring game. It is also going to be a closely contested game. It's going to have 230-plus implied point total. The spread, though, was like 1.5 points. So it should go the distance. We thought Bradley Beal was high at 8.5. Do we think Kyle Kuzma's too high at 3.5? He has not covered in 5 straight games, which is why Levan Pierre is yelling it from the mountaintops. Sounds like he's excited about this play. Kuzma averaging 2.6 assists in the last 5 games. He's kind of the power forward right here for the Wizards. I think that's fair to say. Let's go take a look at the Charlotte Hornets. They are giving up 2.5 assists to opposing power forwards in the last 7 games. That's the 3rd fewest for Kyle Kuzma. So maybe Levan Pierre is onto a good play here. Let's go pull up a projection for Kyle Kuzma, folks. 3.2 projected assists, but at 3.5, he's a minus 130 betting favorite to go over 3.5. So people are betting the over on this prop, despite the fact that he's 0 for his last 5, despite the fact that his projections are at 3.2. This game's going to be high scoring. It's probably going to go the distance, according to Vegas lines makers. You might be playing with fire going under. Kyle Kuzma, under 3.5 assists. Be careful. I'm just saying, be careful. What else are you guys talking about? Osmosis Jones, Wendell Carter Jr. over on fantasy points. That's 1 for the gang. Okay. Well, you know I'm a sucker for some Orlando Magic props. Big Orlando Magic fan over here. Lifelong Orlando Magic fan. So let's take a look at Wendy. He's going to be playing the team from the Windy City. Wendy versus the Windy City. 35.5 points. Guys, I have to bring this to your attention. The Chicago Bulls, once upon a time, drafted Wendell Carter Jr. to the Chicago Bulls. Then they traded him to the Orlando Magic for Nikola Vucevic. There's a little bit of revenge factor here. I'm pretty sure, memory serves me correct, the last time that Wendell Carter Jr. faced the Chicago Bulls, he had a pretty darn good game against the Bulls. I don't know what his fantasy score was, the final fantasy score in that game, but I remember him having a pretty good game. That might have been the game that I went to, or maybe it was 2 games ago, the one on Black Friday this year. Anyway, or not this year anymore, it's 2022. Last year, the game that I went to, I think Wendell Carter Jr. had a pretty darn good game against the Bulls. Anyway, revenge narrative, possibly. He's probably going to be playing motivated with a chip on his shoulder. What we do have to say is that Mo Bamba is now back for the Orlando Magic, as is Terrence Ross. He comes off the bench. And I thought that maybe Gary Harris was ready to take a back seat yesterday. He was not ready to take a back seat. Gary Harris is still in his scoring bag, apparently. And of course, Franz Wagner. He's been balling out for Orlando as well. Kind of had a poopy game yesterday, but maybe he bounces back. Nonetheless, Wendell Carter Jr. versus the Chicago Bulls. What we're going to do here is go back to this tool. We'll go to the center position. We'll go over to fantasy points allowed per game to opposing centers. We don't have to go down very far. The Chicago Bulls over the last 7 games are giving up nearly 60 fantasy points per game to opposing big men. That's the 7th most in the last 7 games. Yes, this is a great matchup for Wendell Carter Jr. Plus matchup indeed. Going and pulling up a projection for him on Fantasy Labs. I got Wendell Carter Jr. going for 37 fantasy points. He's also got an excellent rating of 87.8. So yes, I'm buying into it. Great matchup for Wendell Carter Jr. You got the narrative factor in play. You got a projection on Fantasy Labs that says he's going to go for 37 or more. He's got a ceiling of 51 fantasy points in this game. So I think Wendell Carter Jr. makes some sense there, Mr. Osmosis Jones. Thank you for the pick, and I hope you're healing up and feeling better after that car accident. Mind of Reese, another one of our Patreon/Discord community members. You're asking about some Seth Curry assists. So we know from recent streams, recent shows, that Seth Curry and his assist prop has been one that we've been taking the over on. Looking at his last 5 games, and I think this extends back even past 5 games. This kid's covering 3.5 assists in 100% of the last 5 games. 6.4 assists in that 5-game span. So loving a prop with a 100% hit rate. Hard to ignore. Hard to ignore indeed. Let's pull a projection up here for Seth Curry. Going up against Houston tonight. This game will blow out at some point. And for this one, they've got him projected at 3.1 dimes. Puts him pretty close to 3.5. Close enough for me to say, yeah, YOLO. Let's roll with it, right? At 3.5, he is a betting favorite at minus 155 odds to cover, to go over 3.5 assists. I'm with it. I am with it, Mind of Reese. I think you're onto a good pick there. Josh Not Drake, JJJ points. In case you don't know who JJJ is, Triple J, not to be confused with Triple H. Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., you're liking the over on points versus Brooklyn tonight. He's hit this in 2 out of the last 5 games, 40% hit rate. Looking at the last 3, it's been a bit of a struggle. 11 points, 15 points, and 12 points, respectively. He's got to snap out of it at some point. Maybe tonight is the night. Let's go take a look at the projections here for Jaren Jackson Jr. I got him projected for nearly 19 points tonight. And on 2 different books, minus 125 and minus 118. Betting favorite to go over. So definitely dig in a little bit deeper. Don't let this be the end of your research. Let this be the beginning, the spark that ignites the flame for your player prop research. Okay? We're not covering all the ins and outs. We're just kind of skimming the surface with this Q&A lightning round. But on the surface, it looks pretty good so far. I think it's fair to say. Jay Stino, you're liking Kyle Kuzma rebounds. Let's buzz through a few of these picks real quick. Kuzma's at 8.5. He's covered this in 4 of 5 games. We've already talked about the total. Super high, 230 plus points. Kuzma's averaging 9.8 rebounds, so there should be a lot of opportunities for him to grab boards. against this Charlotte Hornets team. Let's pull a projection up for Kuz. Big Kyle Kuzma's at 7.9 projected rebounds at 8.5 boards, a betting favorite at minus 125 to go under at the moment. So there you have it, little Kyle Kuzma action. Another Kyle Kuzma prop that is being discussed here is Kyle Kuzma's points. Let's flip over to the points real quick. He is at 18.5. Seems kind of high. But 3 straight games now, 22, 25, and 29 points. His points are creeping up game by game here. And we love the game script. We love the situation of this game. But his projection's at 16. They expect him to go under. Now, what kind of concerns me too is that on one book he is at 17.5 and another book he is at 18.5. So at 17.5, that was obviously a lower number here. I wish we had him at 17.5 because we like to take the overs. But seeing him at 17.5 makes me kind of question if 18.5 is really doable. I like to look at various sports books and kind of compare. You see this a lot with NFL. You'll see PrizePicks, they'll put their projections up. Usually they're a little lower than most of your books, but I like to go look at the different sports books and the lines makers who are involved with making those lines on those different books and kind of see how each one compares, kind of shopping the prop around, so to speak. So I'm a little concerned that he's at 17.5 on one of these books, that they don't have him at 18.5 like he is elsewhere. So I don't know. Scares me off of him just a little bit, just a tad. Kev Romero wants to know about some Bradley Beal fantasy points over. Let's go take a look. Why are we discussing him? Well, because in 3 straight games, he's only dropped 50 or more fantasy points. So he's on a hot streak, we'll call it, a tear. 50 fantasy points per game average in his last 5 games. 60% hit rate. Now, he's kind of the shooting guard / point guard, kind of the do-it-all guard, almost like James Harden, right? He's scoring, he's assisting, he's doing a little bit of everything while the rest of his backcourt is out. He's facing off against Charlotte today. Charlotte, they are not giving up a ton of fantasy points per game to the shooting guard position from what it looks like, unless I'm missing it. Oh, yep, I'm missing it. Sorry, they are. They are giving up the 3rd most fantasy points per game to opposing shooting guards at 46.6 over the last 7 games. So that looks good. How about the point guard position? Charlotte giving up about 49 fantasy points per game in the last 7 games to opposing point guards. So definitely a good spot here for Bradley Beal. I mean, Charlotte, not anybody that we're really worried about defensively. They're giving up a lot of fantasy points per game. I got him projected, though, for about 45 fantasy points. He does grade out, or his rating, rather, is pretty strong at 87.8. So definitely cross-reference, compare this fantasy projection of 44.94, let's call it 45 fantasy points, to some other sites out there. And maybe you can kind of draw a conclusion on which way you should go on that prop. So we talked Kuzma rebounds. We talked Kuzma points. You guys are all over some Kyle Kuzma today, it sounds like. If you're really liking his points and his rebounds that much, then maybe you should look at Kyle Kuzma's fantasy points. I'm just saying. Points and rebounds make up a large portion of a player's fantasy points. So if you're liking those 2 numbers, maybe you could take a look at his fantasy points as well. Andrew says, I'm riding with the Seth Curry over assist prop until he misses. That's probably a good strategy. GMB wants to know, how do you feel about Draymond's assists or rebounds or Looney's rebounds? Good question. We haven't talked much about any Golden State Warriors. We got a few of their props up on the board now. Looks like Draymond's up there. You asked about his rebounds. He's at 8.5 going against Miami. Miami's been giving up pretty good amount of rebounds to opposing bigs here lately with all the injuries on their team. But Draymond's been anything but consistent when it comes to pulling in boards. He's covered this prop in 2 out of 5 games, just a 40% hit rate. So first glance, I don't love it. Let's pull up a projection for him, though. I got him projected for 8.1 boards. And it seems like the Action Labs projection tools don't love it either. And neither does the betting public. He's a minus 125 to go under 8.5 boards. So, again, not the end-all be-all when it comes to your research, but on the surface level, it looks like This could be a prop to avoid taking an over on. Unless you have, a little more intel, a little more information, maybe you take the over. And maybe you were asking about the under to begin with. You did not make a case for under or over on Draymond Green, so I'm not sure. Research Prevails, another one of our community Patreon members. Joel Embiid first half fantasy points, anyone? Yes. We talked about loving the matchup for Joel Embiid against the Houston Rockets tonight. I think it makes a ton of sense to go with points, but it could also make a ton of sense to go with fantasy points because they're giving up over 65 fantasy points per game to opposing centers in the last 7 games. Again, sometimes you just got to throw the numbers out like we did the other night when Joel Embiid faced off against Nick Claxton. It was just real simple. Joel Embiid versus Nick Claxton. How do we think this one's going to go? Well, obviously, I think Joel Embiid's a hell of a player, and Nick Claxton's not really a hell of a player. So, yeah, we should probably just click the over on Joel Embiid's numbers and let him go ahead and take us to the green, right? It's kind of how I feel about him tonight against Houston. Like, let's not overthink things because this is a good spot for Joel Embiid. He's at 51.5 fantasy points. He's covered this number in 4 out of his last 5 games. That's an 80% hit rate. Now, that's full game. But we know the dangers of playing a full game over on a superstar like Joel Embiid in what looks like a surefire blowout. So, as mentioned, we're going to go look at the first half fantasy points for Joel Embiid, where he's at 26 fantasy points. Now, I don't know if I could do this or not. I'm going to see if I can. First half, let's try FanDuel point game logs. StatMuse, don't fail me. And they didn't. They actually came through. So you can use StatMuse to look at first half FanDuel points scored. Now, in case you've been living under a rock, FanDuel and PrizePicks fantasy points scoring exactly the same. I think Yahoo is also the same as those two sites. So looking at Joel Embiid here at 26 fantasy points going up against Houston. How many times has he actually covered this number this season in the first half? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11, and I'm not sure how many games this is, but it's probably somewhere around 20-ish. I don't know, 20-something games. He's probably sitting around 50% hit rate. So I don't know. Could be a little bit of a coin flip, but factor in the matchup here. And I mean, I think we have to kind of consider going over on Joel Embiid at 26 fantasy points, over on Joel Embiid at 13.5 first half points. The matchup's not really going to get much better than this. And if they put Joel Embiid's free throws up at like 6.5 or 7 or maybe even 7.5, I think we also have to consider those as well. It's an Embiid kind of night, guys. But be careful of the blowout. Play him probably only in a first half format. What else? Wally. I don't know how to say your last name, but I will call you Wally S. Any love for Kevin Durant to go over or under 30.5 points? Well, listen, I was having a field day clicking the over on Kevin Durant at just 27.5 points. When he came off of COVID, they had him like 2 games in a row at 27.5. And I was like, what are you guys doing? This is Kevin Easy Money Sniper Durant we're talking about here. And you're going to serve him up at 27.5 points? Y'all disrespectful for that. So I ended up clicking the over on Kevin Durant in first half and in full game formats. Now, I'm not seeing KD up on the board just yet. But what I can do is just pull up a projection for you on Kevin Durant's points. Now he's up to, you said 30.5? That's more than 27.5. We can all agree there. 32.2 projected points against the Memphis Grizzlies tonight. But at 30.5, 3 different books, people are betting the under, minus 120 odds to go under 30.5. But he's popping on the projections, so there's that. We'll have to wait and see where he's at on PrizePicks when they get uploaded to the board. What else? King Chris, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope under on points. A lot of love being shown for Kyle Kuzma over on points. Haven't really talked Bradley Beal's points a whole lot, but he's been back to scoring close to about 30 points per game over the last 5 games. He could be an option against Charlotte. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope has taken a back seat to these other aforementioned players at 13.5 points, 5 straight games where he has gone under. Now, you are coming dangerously close in some of these games. You're playing with fire here, taking the under on a game with 230 plus point implied total with a spread as close as it is, because he scored 13 against Utah in one game, 13 against Chicago in another game. So like one more shot or free throw or whatever just falls his way, he's going over today's line of 13.5. Be careful with KCP in this game. He's at 11.4 points per game average in the last 5 games. Let's pull him up. I got him going for 12.6 on the Action Lab projection tool, with a slight edge to the over on your favorite sports book at 13.5 points, minus 115 betting favorite. Let's see what else the gang is talking about. Appreciate everybody who's joining me this morning. If you haven't taken a moment to hit the like button because you're so captivated by my handsome good looks, it's all right. I'll look away while you hit the like button. All right? Jeez. Just go ahead and do that now. We good? Can I look again? Hopefully you've hit that like button. Sorry about that. I know my brown eyes can be distracting to some. Don't fall in love. I am a married man. All right, let's see what else you guys are talking about. Jack Design says, "What do you think about James Harden's assists?" That's a good question. We haven't talked to any James Harden. I don't see him up on the board yet, which is unfortunate, but I'm just going to quickly pull up a projection. We'll buzz through a few more of your favorite picks and plays. I got Harden at 10.8 projected dimes. At 10.5, which is where he's at on most of the sports books, big betting favorite at minus 135 and minus 142 go under. So that's kind of the initial look. We'll have to wait and see what the PrizePicks number is looking like on James Harden's dimes when they go up. If it's up, then it's up, as the kids say. Yes, A and B, we've talked Kuzma rebounds. Anthony, Tony, Ruiz. Harris NBA, first half points or fantasy over. Tobias Harris, we're talking about him, first half. We know the blowout risk is real. Let's look at Tobias Harris, 9.5 points going up against Houston tonight. Let's go look at his fantasy points. He's at 18 fantasy points. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I guess it could be an option. Tobias Harris is projected for 19.8 full game points, so nearly 20 points. He's at 18.5 on most of the books. Betting favorite to go under, minus 120 on one, minus 116 on the other. Just for reference sake, we will pull up a projection for Tobias Harris fantasy points. He's at 37.4 fantasy points. So, you know, you can use StatMuse, by the way, like I did. You can do like a search for Tobias Harris first half points, game logs, and take a look at how he scored in the first half of this season. You could also take a look at Tobias Harris first half FanDuel points, game logs, kind of get an idea of how he's done in the first half. But we know the matchup against Houston should be a good one for most of these players, including Joel Embiid. JY2234, Ja Morant under 27.5 points. Let's take a look at Ja. He's been scoring the ball really well. He's going up against Brooklyn tonight, though. Could be a tough matchup. 3 straight games of 30 or more points for Ja Morant. He's been covering 27.5 in 60% of his last 5 contests, and he's averaging 28.6 points per game in that span. So let's pull a projection up. I got him going for 23.7, guys. That puts him nearly 4 points under his line of 27.5. And yes, I am seeing some action on a couple different books where people are betting their hard-earned money on the under at 27.5 for money-making Morant on this money-making Monday. There you go. Zach Glenn, another one of our Patreon members, jumping up in here to leave a prop Royce O'Neal under on points. Royce O'Neal, under on points. He's at just 7.5 points. Now, he had a big game against Golden State, dropping in 15. But prior to that, 0, 4, 3, and 3. So you know how sometimes I say, like, we should go back to taking the over on a prop whenever a player has a bad game the game before? Maybe we kind of, like, apply that same approach to this. Maybe a guy who's been, like, consistently pretty bad in his last 5 games and who has, like, this spike, this, like, outlier of a good game. Maybe we go back to taking the under while everyone thinks, oh, but he just scored 15 points. He's going to do it again. Like, maybe we just go back to the under here on Royce O'Neal. See what you're saying here. I see what you're saying, Zach. I don't think it's a bad strategy. Let's go ahead and pull up a projection on Royce O'Neal. I got him going for 7.8. But 3 different books, people are betting the under. As high as minus 126 odds to go under 7.5. So 7.8 now, if that was like 8.8 points or 9.8 points, I'd be a little scared. But 7.8 is close enough to like 7.5 where I can feel sort of okay taking the under on Royce, the 5'9" O'Neal. Osmosis says he's okay. That's good to hear. Glad you're doing fine. He was the passenger. Lucky to be okay. But also don't sleep on my Wendell Carter fantasy points over. Yeah, we're not sleeping on that. We like that pick. At least I do. A lot of good reasons. A lot of good potential there for Wendell Carter Jr. Ain't mad at it. Oh, doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. Cam DeBose is reporting that Christian Wood and Kevin Porter Jr. have been suspended tonight for the Houston Rockets. Well, suspension or not, Joel Embiid's going to kill those guys. So I don't think that they would have helped a whole lot. Jonathan Huber reporting that Jonas Valanciunas of the New Orleans Pelicans has just been cleared to take the court tonight. So it's going to be Jonas Valanciunas and it's going to be Rudy Gobert taking on one another. All right. Love it, man. Love it. Thanks for dropping them news pieces up in here. Let's see what else you guys are discussing here. Trill Fate, you're liking some Steph Curry under on threes. Okay. Yeah, we touched on some Curry threes for just a moment, but didn't look like a great move one way or the other, to be honest. Embiid first half points. Yes, Dalton. We talked about those. Wendell Carter Jr. over. Easy revenge spot. Yep. I love that. Joseph says, I don't know if I'm behind, but if you talk about Steph Curry, but under on points versus the Heat. We haven't really talked any Steph Curry points versus the Heat. We did talk about his 3-point makes, but his points. Do we think Curry does better or worse now that Jordan Poole and Draymond are back in the lineup? Like, is there maybe like less attention, less focus on him, and he could get back to scoring the basketball like he's, did in 3 of these games where he had 30, 46, and 33? He had 23 against Denver, had a terrible first half in that game. 28 against Utah, came really close to covering the 28.5, but ended up missing a free throw in crunch time that put him under. So, when's this kid? I call him a kid. He's probably about my age. He's probably a little younger than me. When is Steph Curry going to come back to the averages of like 30 points per game, 32 points per game? Could it be tonight against Miami? Not sure. Nobody knows anything around here. But 33.3 is his projected point total tonight. So that does put him over 28.5 by nearly 5 points. But on 3 different books, 2 of the 3, he is a betting favorite to go under 28.5. So maybe he snaps out of it. Maybe he gets back on track against a completely decimated Miami Heat squad. It's going to be an easier matchup. Draymond's assists, I'll just quickly buzz through that one. 7.5 versus Miami. He's covered in 4 of 5 games. 80% hit rate. 8.8 assists per game average. Let's go ahead, pull it up. He's at 8.2 assists. Projected for 8.2 assists. Not really seeing any of the betting public taking a stance here over or under on Draymond Green. He's at even money right now. but the projections seem to favor the over. Gonna scroll through a few more of these. Gordon under points. Which Gordon? Gordon Hayward, Eric Gordon, Aaron Gordon. I don't know which one you're talking about. I'm just gonna keep it moving. Kuzma has been hooping. Luke Ban, I'm not trying to take away from Kyle Kuzma and diminish what he's been doing. He has been hooping. You're right. My apologies if it sounded like I was dismissing him. Joe Valen, Gobert under first half points and rebounds seem good. Yes, probably more on the under for his first half points. But yeah, I think with Joe Valen, it's going to be harder, more difficult for Rudy Gobert to cover. Ethan says, late to the show, I'll start rewatching. Let's get some money today. 180 people are watching, but there's only 75 likes. We got to do better. You're right, Ethan. We do have to do better. And I think people will take that message to heart and try to do better by liking the stream if they haven't yet. I think you make a very solid point, Ethan. Thank you for sharing. Gordon Hayward under points. All right, Cam, let's take a look at it. Gordon Hayward versus Washington. He's at 16-5. Man, I mean, it's been a struggle for him to score. Maybe he's the Lauri Markkanen of tonight's slate. I took Lauri Markkanen under 14.5 points. Lauri Markkanen lately has been a good underplay on his points. Maybe Gordon Hayward falls into that same sort of category. He's averaging just 10.2 points per game in his last 5 games. Don't have a projection up just yet for Gordon Hayward, but let's refresh the Action Labs projection tools. They could have potentially added him in. Boom, there he is, 17.3. I got him projected for 17.3. 3 different sites, all under 16.5. So the projections in this case, people are fading these projections if they have access to them. They're betting the under on Gordon Hayward at 16.5 points. You might be onto something there. Joseph Rogers, looks like you kind of repeated yourself there. Yeah, we talked Steph Curry points. Appreciate that. Draymond Green, you're liking the rebounds under, says Yayo. Seth Curry assist looks like a lock. It looks very good. I think you would either take the over on Seth Curry's assist or you just don't take it at all. But how can you feel good about taking an under on a guy who's been hitting his assist prop with the high hit rates that he has? Yeah, we talked a little bit, Rory, about the rebound situation for the Bucks. I kind of want to take the under on Giannis at 12 more than Portis just because 12 is a bigger number. But for the same reasons that you're mentioning, the under on rebounds seems like a good look because Milwaukee's going to blow Detroit out. What are the locks for today? Well, I haven't been to Home Depot lately or Lowe's where they sell locks. I don't know if they got any good deals on locks, but you know me. There ain't no locks around here. Call them what you want. There's some good plays, okay? There's some good plays, but they're never really locks. They're never locks. Buzzing through the rest of these. Tony says, PrizePicks came shooting with all the props at once. Yeah. Kind of late to the party, but they're finally here, huh? Those props on PrizePicks. It's all right. It'll be worth the wait, hopefully. Yep, Pick'ems. Another one of our Patreon members says, Gobert under first half points. Yes, I second that. Now that Joe Val is in, Gobert under first half points is in play for me as well. Mind of Reese, no Christian Wood or KPJ. Yep, in case you missed it, that news definitely going to be impactful. That just means the 76ers are really going to blow out Houston now. Adrian, Daniel Gafford over on fantasy points. We don't talk a whole lot about Daniel Gafford, but he's going up against Charlotte, and we know Biggs against the Hornets works out a lot of the times, right? They're not a very good defensive team across the board, but especially with Biggs. Gafford covered 33.5 in 3 straight games. Looking at this matchup here, the Hornets giving up the second most fantasy points per game to opposing centers, over 67 fantasy points allowed per game. Woo! That's a lot. Second most in the last 7 games to centers. Got him projected for 40 fantasy points, guys. Let's keep this between us, but 40.4 fantasy points is a whole lot more than 33.5. Go take the over on Daniel Gafford's fantasy points. Let's keep it a secret, though, okay? Don't tell no one. It looks like a good play. Love it. Love it, Adrian. Love it. Joseph Rogers, you're liking Steph Curry under on points. Don't know that I want to go there because I just never feel great about going under on Steph Curry, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, all the superstars. But if you feel froggy, then leap. Yurtsevin does not have any props out yet on FanDuel or DraftKings. Weird. Yeah, maybe they're waiting on some news or something. When KD was up, he was up at 30.5. Yeah, I mean, that's high, but... Levan Pierre, Curry, I miss your NFL football videos. I used to make a lot of money off of them. Well, I kind of do the same thing. It's just over in Discord now. I don't have to get on camera. I can just talk to you folks. Here's one. Jarrell Ellis, Andrew Wiggins rebounds. I'm assuming because we like taking overs that you're wanting to take the over on Andrew Wiggins at 4.5 boards. According to PrizePicks here, in his last 5 games, he's covered this prop in 4 out of 5, 80% hit rate. So Andrew Wiggins over rebounds coming off of a bad game against Utah where he had 0. Could be in a spot for a bounce back. So I'm picking up what you're putting down here. I'm picking it up. Got him projected for 5.1. We got two different sites where he's betting favorite at minus 135 to go over 4.5. So they expect him to kind of return to glory. There you go. Looney under rebounds or points with Draymond back. Yes? Is that the answer? Looney under on points or rebounds or both? Is both the option as well? He's at 7 points right now with Draymond back. It's been just, an up or down sort of roller coaster ride here for Kevon Looney going up against Miami tonight. I'm going to quickly just pull up a projection for Looney. We're not going to go crazy researching a Looney prop, but I got him at, you see what I did there? Crazy Looney. 7.3 points is his projection. Kevon Looney. He's a minus 120, minus 115 betting favorite at 7.5, which is why PrizePicks has him at 7. So there's one option. And then you asked about the rebounds on Looney at 7.5. Lower hit rate here on the rebounds. 7.5 boards last 5 games, averaging 5.8. Has only covered 1 time. It was against Phoenix. Phoenix, not a very good rebounding team. Miami also, respectively, not a very good rebounding team either. I'm sorry. Looney's at 7.3 rebounds. His points are at 5.9. So, yes, under on both. 7.3 rebounds versus 7.5. 5.9 points versus 7 points. He's actually at 6.5 on most books and minus 145 and minus 140 on points on those books. So, both of them looking like unders, though. For shizzle. So they had the Nets props up from what it sounds like, and then they just yanked them. Yeah. Harun Farah. We love Joel Embiid over tonight. In case you're late to the show, we like him, but I think we want to just go first half only, just to be safe, because we know the Sixers should absolutely come out and stomp the Houston Rockets. What else are you folks talking about here? We got to wrap things up. We can't, can't be here forever. Can't be here all day. We've talked about a lot so far. Just buzz through these as quickly as I can. And then we'll continue the conversation, the research and everything over in Discord. So that's where you can find me probably for the rest of the day. Just digging into player props. Rory, you're liking some Kispert over 3-pointers. Now that one's potentially interesting. He's not up on the board on PrizePicks, so I'm guessing you're probably getting him somewhere else. We know Kispert can shoot the rock, but at 1.5, I got him as a betting favorite at minus 140 to go under and a projection of 1.3 3-point makes. Pick 3 Lovers is saying Ja Morant is profitable tonight. He should be able to cover the total tonight. Of points, you think? All right. Savi Bala, or Savvy Baller, or Savvy Bala wants me to search up some Reggie Jackson rebounds. Aye, Captain. Let's get on it. Reggie Jackson rebounds, 3.6. He's at 3.5 on most of your books, but he's a betting favorite to go under. So the projections like him to go over. The public, they're putting their money on the under. Daniel Gafford fantasy's looking great. Great. But again, keep that between us. Don't tell anybody how good Daniel Gafford's fantasy points look tonight. That's going to be a secret play that we only know about here, that we only talk about, between us. Smoke a bag of that. Seth Curry over rebounds. Seth Curry over rebounds? Why not Seth Curry over assists and just go with something that looks spicy? Seth Curry rebounds, 2.5 boards, folks, 4 out of 5. So the hit rates for the assists are like 5 out of 5. The rebounds not as good, but still good. 80% hit rate, averaging 3.4 boards. For me, if I'm playing Seth Curry, I got to go with the assist over the rebounds because the hit rates are just there. They're just money. They're money. But you asked, so you shall receive. I got him projected at 3 boards. One site, seeing some odds, some action under 2.5. So I got to go with the assists for Seth. If I'm playing him any which way, it's going to be Seth Curry's assists. Babysitter, it's a heck of a name. Babysitter wants to know about Bobby Portis. Just kidding. Serge Ibaka under rebounds. Serge Ibaka under on rebounds. Man, I haven't talked to any Serge Ibaka this season, I don't think. 6.5 boards. He has gone under this number in 4 of his last 5 games. There's a lot of injuries for the Clippers, though. No Zubac, no Paul George. Probably some other names that I'm missing. But, yeah, I mean, he's not rebounding very well, so I guess maybe you could look at this. I'll pull up a projection. He's at 5.5 projected boards going against the T-Wolves. T-Wolves dealing with their own injuries. I kind of want to wait and see. Is Karl Anthony Towns going to play? Is D'Angelo Russell going to be in? But as of now, at this moment, 12:40 p.m. Eastern Time, Serge Ibaka projected for 5.5 boards and is a betting favorite to go under 6.5 at minus 125 odds. Does Discord work on mobile? Absolutely. That's like the best way to use Discord, or the way that I use Discord a lot is through the mobile app. They got Patreon apps, they got Discord apps, they got all the apps. There's an app for that. Have you ever heard that term? Because there is. There's an app for everything. Grayson Allen under on points. If Chris Middleton is in, Dylan, I think we talked about Grayson Allen under on points being a move. If Chris Middleton is out, I don't want to take the under on Grayson Allen. All right. I think we've kind of reached the end here. I mean, if anything else kind of jumps out. No, you don't tell me they. Research Prevails just said that they pull Seth Curry's assist from PrizePicks. Mother sucker. He ain't lying either. Seth Curry's assists are now gone. Do we go take his big brother under assist? Oh, he's starting to pick it up. Oh, man. They did us dirty. Too much heat on Seth Curry over the assist prop. So I guess you got to go with the rebounds now. Womp womp. Why'd they pull Seth Curry off for? Or did they pull all the Sixers? Nope. There's some other Sixers up here. Just Seth Curry's assists. Sheesh. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Hopefully some of you guys got it locked in before it disappeared and made its exit. Seth Curry's assists, much like Antonio Brown yesterday, just left right in the middle of the game, or in this case, the stream. It disappeared. Peace out. Seth Curry's gone. Antonio Brown's gone. Yeah. Such is life. Anyway, folks, I'm going to get up out of here. I think we've talked about plenty. It's been an hour and 41 minutes. Like I said, we'll continue the conversation over in Discord. I'll be dropping some stats, some research, some picks, some things that I'm liking that are looking good as I come across them. So make sure if you are a Patreon member, if you're in the Discord community, that just stay tuned, stay plugged in. And then I'll post some picks over on Patreon tonight for you folks as well. All right. If you want to join any of that stuff, Discord, Patreon, maybe you don't play on PrizePicks yet. All the links to all the things are down in the description below. Love you guys. Thank you so much for leaving a like on your way out if you haven't yet. We'll catch you tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time, right here. Same bat time, same bat channel. Peace.